Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste experience. I'm so grateful for you and for everyone in Namaste Village, everyone who is part of the Namaste experience around the world. So grateful that we come together here almost every day to lift and to join and to keep raising this frequency, the pitch of the one, the holy pitch of oneness. It is such an opportunity. And so with gratitude, we begin our session today. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about something that was shared yesterday that I got some comments about. So I thought that maybe some illustration or some explanation would be good because it's a very rich topic. And the topic generally is the holy relationship. We've been covering a few of the primary teachings from A Course in Miracles over the last few days. And so this is one that is a great favorite of many people, because the common understanding is that the holy relationship is when two people come together and form a holy bond where the release of specialness is the primary goal and the ascension into grace as we support one another, that this is what the holy relationship is. And the answer to that is yes, and. Yes, and. So I think what has gotten things going, and I'm going to bring her on a little bit later, and we can see what she says about this, but I think it was something that Calico said yesterday, where she said that the holy relationship is with myself, self with the capital S. And we had a number of people reach out and say, hold on, the holy relationship is not with me. The holy relationship is with another person. And you see how the egoic mind begins to try and separate and say, no, it's not about this, it's about that. We've talked a lot about this in terms of people trying to determine intellectually what a non-dual teaching or experience is. This is non-dual, but that's not. Trying to judge what is and what is not non-dual is the most dualistic thing you could ever possibly do. As I've said before, you could read the newspaper. I think newspapers still exist, don't they? At least somewhere there must be a newspaper. We can read anything in a magazine, online, and if we are in the experience of the one, everything is non-dual. However, if we are in the experience of the two, then everything is dualistic. This and, okay, this and that, something else, whatever it might be. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a kind of progression that we go through in experiencing the holy relationship. And I actually, just a few minutes ago, I did a little chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this chart up on the screen so you can all see it. Okay. There we go. Okay. So you can see there's nothing here at the top part of the screen so far, but at the bottom, we have the special relationship. And at least in this chart, the special relationship is basically a descending movement into a deeper hell, if you want to look at it that way, a locking ourselves even more deeply into separation and hell. I don't know how else to say that. It begins with I want someone. I want someone to fill the needs that I have, to fill the empty spaces in my life. I really want that. And when I am not able to achieve that goal, it turns into I really need it. I wanted it, now I need it, and finally I require. And you can feel the energy grow with each one of those. Actually, it's more the anxiety. It's not just energy, it's anxiety. I want, I need, I require. But In the special relationship, we never accomplish that which we think we want, need, or require. It's always, it's like a carrot on a stick. It's always out there. We're never going to get it. We can run as fast as we can. We can chase it as long as we want. But no matter who we're with, no matter what the form of the relationship, it's always going to be further than I can reach. So this is the hallmark of the special relationship. Whenever I'm trying to get someone to give me what I want, what I need, or what I require, I'm just going deeper and deeper into the darkness of my own mind. But now I'm going to show you another slide, which has the same thing at the bottom, but instead of going down, now we're going to start with the holy relationship, and we're going to go up, as I explain where I think Calico was going yesterday. So the holy relationship begins, does not end with, but it begins with a holy partnership that I may choose to have with another person. This could be a romantic partner, it could be a friend, it could be a teacher, it could be anyone. But I'm choosing, as we said before, for this relationship now to be the ascension into grace rather than the descent into hell. And I'm letting go of all the ideas of specialness, and we together, whoever that might be, we share a common, overwhelming longing for love. Not the love of the ego, but the love of the soul, which sees all things as one. So it begins with the holy relationship that I share with another person. But then, as you can see, behind each one of these, I put the word dissolve. If I want to go higher, if I want to ascend, now that must dissolve. Okay, that needs to lose its focus as I enter into the holy relationship with myself. Not myself with a small s, my identity. That has already begun to fade. That is nothing. It's nothing but a shadow, as we've said before. But my true self, my whole self, right? I have to seek a relationship, a holy relationship with the reality that is wholly contained within myself or my soul. To enter into that so that the only focus now is to move higher into the experience of oneness, because the one is within me now. So I have to let my need and desire for another person dissolve so that I can enter into that sacred relationship with myself with the capital S. But now that must dissolve. Do you see, in order to keep ascending higher, it has to dissolve. So now I can enter into a holy, special relationship with God or with the divine. Okay, now I am entering into an experience of complete, total wholeness. But guess what? Even that must dissolve. Even my idea that there is a God, or that there is an entity, or that there is anything outside the holy relationship, the only true relationship that exists, even that must dissolve. All concepts, hold on to nothing, as Jesus says. Lay down this course. That's one of my favorite lines. He's even saying, put this aside, put it all aside, forget about all of it, and come with holy, empty hands unto your God. Everything must dissolve. And to the final step, and I put a question mark here, because of this we cannot speak. This is the pure experience, what I often call the realized soul. You may have heard or read me talking about the three enlightenments, the illumined mind. This is when all the tumblers fall into place, and that which made no sense before suddenly comes into total focus. It makes total sense. But now that must enter into the awakened heart, the heart of compassion. And there comes a point when these two merge together as one, and then I'm in the realized soul. We could call that illumined consciousness. We could call that avatar consciousness. It doesn't matter what we call it, but of this we cannot speak because there are no concepts at all that can even come close to it. So once again, You look at the bottom, the special relationship is really descending into deeper, darker elements of hell. I want, I need, I require. But the holy relationship ascends. First, the holy relationship with another person, which must dissolve. It doesn't stop there, it only begins there. Now, as Calico explained yesterday, I have to enter into a holy relationship with the very self within that knows its oneness with all, the oneness it shares with all. But now that must dissolve so that God or the divine is my only focus, my only desire, my only longing. And now that must dissolve as I enter into the pure, unadulterated experience of the one. I hope that makes sense. For me, it was a way of understanding the holy relationship in its complexity, but also its simplicity. That there's the idea that the holy relationship must be this, or it must be with another person. No, it begins there. But ultimately, everything ends in light. Everything dissolves into light rather than devolving into the shadow. So I'm going to start with Calico, and then we'll go to Vicky. So Calico, if you're out there, I would just love to hear what you would like to add to this.
That's perfect, James. I loved your chart. And that question mark at the top is the awakened state while still in the dream. So that you're seeing everything as it is, but your focus is on God. You know, this is great. Oh God, this is fabulous. You know, many people have opted for relationships to get the lessons that they would learn. I opted for cancer to get the lessons that I would learn. It's whatever is in front of you is the lesson that you would learn. And that's access to taking it higher and dissolving into the self, and then dissolving the self, and then really just being one with God. And relationships are fine, but the Course is not talking about a conceptual holy relationship, like two people falling in love. There are lessons that will be learned in that. And if you can keep forgiving the error, you eventually get to yourself and see, oh, I'm the cause of all this. And that's where I got to. Oh my God, it's me again. You know, last week I had someone say something, and I in my mind thought, okay, time to go deep with God. And I was guided to chapter 22 and 23 in the Course in Miracles text. And it really started talking about really the holy relationship. And the holy relationship is just the focus is shifting from seeing error in the dream to being one in the mind of God, which is basically what a whole Course in Miracles is about. And you can do that with anything and anyone. Whatever you're seeing in front of you, if you have children that are giving you a hard time, or, you know, you need money, or, you know, whatever, you use that as the lesson you would learn. And then you take that through these steps. And I loved your chart, James. You know, it's like you take it through the special relationship. I had a special relationship with me. I had needs, I had requirements, I had a lot of that stuff. And slowly through this mind training, I was able to drop those. And then it got into some deeper water. You know, it's like, okay, I know I want the peace of God, but I have issues with some things in the dreams still. And it's just to drop into prayer. That, you know, that is the answer. Drop into prayer. Anytime I get hooked by anything, I have to drop deeper into prayer, because there's a concept coming up of how I think it should be. And I need to break that up, but I can't break that up. Holy Spirit can break that up. And that's why I'm dropping into prayer all the time. I was talking to someone yesterday. I can be in conversation with someone and I can see a hook coming up. I'm dropping into prayer while I'm having a conversation, because it's kind of like I need to get, my whole focus is on the peace of God, period. And this is no small feat. At least I have found for myself, because I was a fairly opinionated person. I had a lot of different ideas of how things should be look and be done. And, and James, you gave me many opportunities to hang myself here at Namaste. I go to James, it's like, James, why don't we do it this way? And James would go, I don't think so. And it was like, and then I take that personally. And then it's kind of like everything is a lesson I would learn. So if I'm having any wiggle in my mind over something that's occurring on the screen, that's for me to go into prayer with.
Mhm.
And as you do it, and I'm still working on it. Like I said, last week I had 2 judgmental thoughts, but my commitment is not to get more than 2 judgmental thoughts away from God. So it was like immediately, okay, this weekend I'm going into prayer. And I was guided to read, I use ACIM now has a little thing called the Oracle. And anytime I'm really working on something, I go to the Oracle, I put my pointer over it, it does a little thing, and then it pops you out someplace in the text or the lessons. And it's always accurate for me. Whatever I'm dealing with in my mind, I go to the Oracle, hit it, and it was all phrases from chapters 22 and 23. So I just sat with those chapters this weekend, and it was really just, I've been fighting with my commitment for the peace of God. And so as I was fighting with it, wanting to make myself right, this is where humility is a must. It's like Calico, let go of this idea you're right. There is no right, there is no wrong. Just be with your desire for the peace of God. Read these 2 chapters. I mean, that was Holy Spirit for me. And I read them and I dropped deeper and deeper into this idea. No, all I want is a holy relationship. And it's not with another person, it's with me. And I'm the one that's been giving myself hell. And it's kind of like, so there was a recommitment to my mind training of just allowing myself my perfection, not making myself wrong, but really standing in, I am the peace of God. That's what I was created out of. So anytime I am in conflict with this by having a judgmental thought, I'm fighting the truth of who I am. And I just can't afford it anymore because I suffer. And for me, I get physical symptoms. If I am having a judgmental thought, I start having physical symptoms. And I just know, oh my God, what else am I thinking? Let's go. It's not about focusing on the symptom in my body. It's about focusing on what am I judging out here in the world? And it's like, and I always find something, surprise, surprise. And it's like, and then I just drop deeper with Holy Spirit. It's like, oh my God, Holy Spirit, look here, look at what I'm doing. Help me sort this out. Help me unravel this nightmare that I've created. And so I thank you. This has been great. And anyone that needs to contact me, I'd be more than happy to talk to you. I also do a Zoom room for mind training on Wednesdays at noon. Ahihi time, here is my little advertisement. And you can send me your email and I'll put you on the list for the link. But it's like just dropping deeper into the mind training, because that's all it is. Everything else is virtual reality. And so it's Holy Spirit talking me through those scary parts of walking the plank. And it feels like walking the plank every time I have a judgmental thought. It's like, oh. And Holy Spirit always pulls me out the other end. And I have to do the work. I mean, it's not like just hoping that something will shift. It's actually being an advocate for myself to commit to the peace of God once again. So anyway, thank you.
No, thank you, Calico. Whenever you bring up the plank, you catch my attention. And it's exactly what it is. We're always walking this virtual plank where it seems like everything is at risk. If I fall off this plank, I'm going to fall 100 stories down. And the only people we have to, I don't know what to say. I was going to say something about, our dear Jimbo, who actually did experience something to the effect of that, but it's virtual. It's not real. None of it's real. The plank is right there on the ground the whole time. You're perfectly whole and safe. Nothing has ever changed. And it's wonderful when I put people with the glasses on and they're walking this imaginary plank, half the people can't step out of the elevator, and there is no elevator. Half of the people can't step out onto the plank, even though there is no plank. And do you see the correlation? We try to follow through on these imaginary forms instead of taking off the glasses and realizing we never left heaven. We never left our home. That's all of these holy relations, these different forms of the holy relationship are meant to bring us into, to take off the virtual glasses and to realize I never really left home. I never left my perfect state of wholeness with the one, or with God, or whatever you want to call it. So thank you for helping us to see that more clearly, Calico. That's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to turn it over to Vicky. Vicky, you can take us home. Go for it.
All right, Brother James, Calico, thank you. And thanks for elaborating, because this is the topic that opens everything up, because this is where we see relationship two. It's our way of seeing here in time. And what we see are always opposing forces fighting for control, or for who's going to win the battle of the wills. And what we have come into is a realization of our interconnectedness. And slowly we have, not just individually, hopefully culturally, coming into the realization that we are truly one with all of life. And now that's a whole other way of being. The way the Course describes it is that everything is a learning device. In fact, Calico was talking about chapter 23. It's a great chapter. The war against yourself is almost over. The war against yourself is nothing more than believing there are things that aren't of ourself. That's it. And then we go and wrestle with them, or we try to get something from them. We try to get rather than just allow a flow of giving. That's the determined that I'm in need of correction when I'm trying to get something rather than give. It's the first principle is that everything is a mirror. It's a mirror, and that's why it's a learning device. It's a mirror to show me where I'm still divided in myself. The division is in who I think I am. I'm either what God created me as part of life, part of everything, or I'm what I think I've made of myself as an individual, distinct from everything and everyone. And then I go, and this is what Jesus says in the Course, we go to special relationships to replace the everything, to replace God, to replace the source of who we are. But the Holy Spirit, Jesus, uses every place that we make special as the very learning device, whether it's a person or cancer or a career or a friend, whatever it is, to be the mirror. Remember, it's a mirror for where we've been hating ourselves, for where we have been disconnected from being created as from a loving Father that we're part of and part of everything. And because we think we've made ourselves up, we have this unconscious guilt. And that guilt's always trying to hurt us, because guilt demands punishment. That's the nature of guilt. It wants to punish. The war against ourselves is almost over. Everything is a reflection. It's a mirror. It's a learning device so that we can stop hurting ourselves, and that we can celebrate that we are connected, we are part of everything, and we want to let that realization come up by dropping the belief. And this is where we make a choice. Heaven is a choice. It's a decision I must make, but we must make it with every thought. One thought away from God, two thoughts away from God. No, I'm not separate from this person, this thing. I don't need to replace everything with one little tiny relationship, whether it's my body or a relationship or a career or a husband or in anything. I need to let the war against myself be over right now. And how do I do that? I step back. I drop everything like a hot potato. Like Calico was saying, she knew this was time for deep prayer. It's time to stop, drop, and pray and say, okay, I see that I'm not getting what I want. They're not being fair to me. This isn't right. This isn't just. This isn't, it's wanting to be right rather than recognizing, oh, this is a mirror. We're all one. Everybody's trying to replace that inner lack with substituting their version of some little special corner of the world, whether it's in politics or in a personal relationship. This is almost over. So when we stop and drop and pray, we say, all right, it's a learning device. I see this is a place. I don't believe I'm whole, one with God, one with life. I feel I'll be lacking, I'll be lost without this special something if I can't get this. Let me allow this feeling to lead me to the healing that the Holy Spirit is always offering me. The most important gift for me of the Course in Miracles has been the helper of the Holy Spirit who does this work of healing us. We don't need to do it. We just need to acknowledge, this is what humility is. I need help, and I won't try to do it myself. Help me, Holy Spirit. Here I am, open-hearted, dropping everything. Forget this course, forget this book. I forget everything, except I know I've asked for help, and you will restore me. Thank you. And the rest of it is by grace. We're just out of the way when we stop interfering with our thoughts about what we think we need and our need to be right or get. When we step back and we say, this is, thank you. Gratitude leads the way here too. Thank you for this help, for this learning device, this relationship of specialness that's showing me where I'm hurting myself still, and I will not do it another instant, not another instant. I refuse. I'm standing right here. I'm making myself available to the Holy Spirit without interfering, and let that be the correction. And then bless all these relationships. When it's time to step back into them, by the power of grace that we have opened to, we will know what to say or do, but it will no longer be a getting. It will be a giving of a blessing, a comfort, some kind of offering, some kind of love, compassion, tenderness, like today's daily word says, some expression of tenderness. I'm going to read you a couple of lines from this is chapter 23. The war against yourself is almost over. It says, nothing around you is but part of you. Look on it lovingly and see the light of heaven in it. So will you come to understand that all is given you. In kind forgiveness will the world sparkle and shine, and everything you once thought sinful now will be reinterpreted as part of heaven. Everything is a relationship. My relationship meantime, stay out of the way. That's my best understanding of all this, you guys. I love you all.
Oh, thank you, Vicky.
Thanks, Brother James.
What a brilliant conversation. This is one for us to really hold on to. It's so important for us to realize that heaven is the decision I must make, and no other decision must be made. Period. Heaven. That's the one decision, the one single desire to ascend past that middle point in the graphic that I did. In fact, let me read just one little bit here from that lesson 138. Heaven is the decision I must make. In this world, heaven is a choice. So you must make that choice today, because here we believe that there are alternatives to choose between. That's what dualism is, that there are alternatives to choose between. We think that all things have an opposite, and what we want, we choose. If heaven exists, then there must be hell as well, for contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real. But creation knows no opposite. God knows no opposite. Love knows no opposite. That's all you need. Just stay with that. Heaven is the decision I must make. And in truth, I've already made. I just need to catch up with myself, with a capital S. What a brilliant discussion. Thank you, Calico. Thank you, Vicky. Thanks to all of you. And just to remind you, today's Wednesday. On Friday, when the session is over, if you guys on Zoom want to hang out, Scott is going to go to his room and he's going to kind of wrap up what the whole week's all the lessons were, so you guys can stay with that. And we love you. Thank you so much for being here. Have a blessed holy day, and we'll be back again tomorrow. I'll be back at Namaste tomorrow, so I'll see you there. Bye now.
I love you.